Most people play poker for years and stay stuck at the exact same level, not because they lack talent, but because nobody ever showed them 5 specific things that pros do automatically, things that most players never even notice. Hey everyone, my name is Oliver, and we are starting right now. If you watch this video all the way through, I promise your game will change. Not a little, dramatically. Because today, we are breaking down the top 5 moves that separate an average player from someone who consistently takes money off the table. Most people don't know even half of this. Let's kick things off with the one thing that matters more than your cards: position. Most beginners stare at their hand and make decisions from there. Pros look at where they're sitting first. When you act last, you see everything everyone else does before you have to decide. That's a massive edge. When you act first, you're flying blind. Simple rule: play more aggressively when you're in position, tighter when you're out of it. Top players literally use different hand ranges depending on where they sit at the table. And this single adjustment is one of the biggest reasons they print money long-term. Next, stop thinking about your own cards and start thinking about what your opponent actually has. An amateur looks down at 2 kings and thinks, this is strong. A pro looks at the opponent and thinks, what range of hands could he be playing here? And how does mine do against that range? This is called range thinking, and it completely changes how you make decisions. You stop asking, is my hand strong enough? And start asking, is my hand stronger than most of what he has? This mental shift takes months to build, but pays off for years. Now here's something that leaks money from almost every average player. Every single time a pro puts chips in, they've already answered one question. What do I want this bet to accomplish? Either you're betting for value, meaning you want a worse hand to call you, or you're bluffing, meaning you want them to fold. If you can't answer that question cleanly before you act, a check is always better than a pointless bet. Random bets drain your stack slowly and steadily, and most players never figure out exactly where the leak is coming from. Here's the 4th move that almost nobody talks about: controlling the pot size from the very first street. Pros are already thinking about how big the final pot will be back on the pre-flop. If you have a hand you want to play for stacks, start building the pot immediately. If you have a hand you don't want to get all in with, keep the pot small from the beginning. Check, don't inflate it. Most players lose money because they arrive at the river facing a massive pot with a hand they have no idea how to play. That's not a river mistake. That's a mistake made 3 streets earlier. And the 5th move is the one that actually separates legends from textbook players. Exploit the specific person in front of you. Don't just follow the playbook. GTO is a solid foundation, but real money in poker is made through exploitation. If a player at your table folds to any aggression, bluff them relentlessly. If they call everything, stop bluffing. Bet thicker for value. If they never raise without a monster, their raise always means the nuts, and you can fold without thinking twice. This is called exploitative play, and it's exactly how Negreanu, Ivey, and Kenny have been beating real humans for decades, not computer simulations. The textbook gives you the base. Watching the specific person in front of you gives you the money. If the first 5 separate the amateur from the average player, then these will separate the average player from the one who is really afraid at the table. The 6th skill is to read the rates as you read the words. Most players look at their opponent's bet and see only the number. He bet 300. The professional sees the message. A small bet on a dry board is almost always an attempt to take the pot cheaply or protect the middle hand. An amateur's overbet on the river is almost always a nats, while a regular's overbet is a polarized range of nats and bluffs. Each size carries information. Start asking yourself one question after each opponent's bet. Why exactly that much? Not what does he have, but why this size? After a month of this habit, you will see twice as much on the table as you saw before. The 7th is aggression and initiative. There is a statistic in poker that is not talked about on streams, but which every pro knows. The hand in which you were the last pre-flop raiser is won more often, regardless of the cards. Just because you have the initiative and betting on the next street seems logical. Passive stake players sit on the calls and wait for them to be allowed to win. Professionals don't wait. They take it away. If you don't have a clear reason to call, raising is almost always better. Passive play is the slow suicide of the stack. The 8th is the analysis of the board structure. An amateur looks at the flop and thinks, did I hit or did I miss? A pro looks at the flop and thinks, who does this flop help more, me or him? A K7 board of 2 different suits is a dry board that falls within the range of the pre-flop aggressor. A 9-8-7 board of the same suit is a dynamic board that falls within the range of the caller. The same AK is played completely differently depending on which board is laid down. Stop playing your cards, start playing the board relative to the ranges. The 9th, and most expensive, if you ignore it, is a mental game. Tilt costs players more money than all the bad decisions combined. You can ideally play for 8 hours and give away all the profits for a month in 20 minutes after the bad beat. A professional treats losing a hand as a single point in the probability distribution. An amateur is treated as a personal insult. A simple rule that Negreanu uses: after a large lost hand, pause. 30 seconds of silence. 1 deep breath. If you feel that the anger is not going away, get up from the table. 1 hour of pause is cheaper than 1 hour of tilt play. The 10th is the stack-to-pot ratio, or SPR. It's a concept that single-handedly takes the game to a new level. If you have a pot of 100 on the flop and stacks of 200, you have a SPR of 2, and you are practically obliged to go all in with the top pair. If the pot is 100 and the stacks are 2,000, you have an SPR of 20, and the top pair becomes the middle hand, which you do not want to play on the stacks. The same card in different SPRs is 2 completely different hands. Professionals calculate the SPR automatically, even on the preflop. Amateurs find out on the river when it's too late. Position, ranges, meaningful bets, bank control, exploitation, size reading, initiative, board structure, mental game, and SPR. Here is an honest growth map for the coming year. Don't try to master everything at once. This is the way to nowhere. Choose one skill, play with it cautiously for a week, and move on to the next one. In 10 weeks, you will be a different player. Not in words, but at the table, in the results, in the schedule. Write in the comments which of these 10 turned out to be the most unexpected for you. I read everything, and if this format has entered, let us know. In the next video, we will analyze the very mistakes that 90% of players make, and most do not even suspect that they lose money on them every session. Those are the 5 things that split players into 2 groups: the ones who stay flat for years and the ones who actually grow. Position, range thinking, betting with purpose, pot control, and exploiting weaknesses. You don't need to master all 5 tonight. Pick one, work on it for a week, then move to the next. That's how real improvement actually gets built in this game. If at least one of these opens something up for you, drop a number in the comments from 1 to 5, whichever one you're starting with first. Hit like right now. It takes 1 second and helps this video reach the players who actually need it. And subscribe, because the next video breaks down the most expensive mistakes that 90% of players make, and most of them have no idea they're even making them.